Hello everyone, welcome to Tyrion, Cuthbert attorney of the arcade. My name is Robin, and I sometimes go by Spellbinder. I still need to figure out the lore for that. Anyway, Lady Frigga seems to be hiding what her father was doing in his study. Not that she's doing this on malice, she might not even think that it's relevant to the case. William Frigga had many enemies and he retreated into his study to do something that night. And that something could be related to why he was murdered. I don't need it. I'm smart. Maybe. Argument. This is something you're not telling us, Leif. Because I have a feeling that you know more than what you're letting on. What? What was your father doing in his study? I already told you. I don't know. I have no idea what my father was doing. My father was a private man. He wouldn't share something like that with me. What am I arguing against? I have no idea what my father was doing. Can I argue something specific? Something about the... Anything about the... Right. I don't think it would be about a person. Alright. She has no idea what her father was doing. What I'm trying to find is some sort of relation to the engagement. Or not engagement, the will. Anything about the will in here. Because obviously that would be what he was doing. For Leif's thoughts, you know that he entered the study. Oh. Okay. He was making some sort of changes to his will, wasn't he? What? Did someone else tell him? Why did you find the need to hide this from us? Ah, I didn't. The thoughts you saw earlier seemed to disagree with that. We've only just met today, so I understand if you don't trust us. But the Inquisition thinks that Beatrice murdered your father, and they claim that she did so for his inheritance. That's absolutely absurd. Regardless, your father's inheritance is a likely motive behind this murder. Many people would have a lot to gain from his death, including you. Excuse me? I was not involved in this. How could you even think that I'm capable of something like this? I mean to imply that you're involved in this, but it's clear that the murderer's motive was to take control of House Frigga. Prosecution clearly won't shy away from prosecuting members of your family. If your sister is truly innocent, where do you think they'll turn their attention to next? I didn't mean to imply that you were involved in this, but it's clear that the murderer's motive was to take control of House Frigga. This means that their plan heavily relied on who William Frigga was leaving his assets to. So I need to know, Miss Frigga, how was your father planning to change his will? I don't know. I was never aware of the details of my father's will. I've already told you, my father was a secretive man. He didn't share the details of his estate with me. That's not... Yeah. I'm hiding until the night of the murder. There was something about him threatening her and Miriam with threatening Miriam and Leif with, like, being like, and this will happen to you too. You know, like, using as an example. Was this within her story? I feel like I would have said. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no. That was a stretch. That wouldn't relate to the details of the father's will, right? Either with the sword, or the entry, or what Jan heard, or the rats. Right. Is this still what I present? Okay. Because if she knows that he was changing the will, that would imply thoughts. Not this. Not that. Not that. House Frigga's crest. Ooh. What the fuck? I'm confused what they want me to represent. It's hard to, because I think I get like if I were talking to her, I would be able to like argue something out, but this? Okay. I guess I get the logic. Is that really true, though? What? I already know about your arranged marriage to Jaden von Sanctus. And I also know that as a part of this deal, Jaden will inherit House Frigga instead of you. You definitely knew about this, and you heavily resisted the marriage in an attempt to stall it. Which means that you had some idea of how your father's will was arranged. So what aren't you telling me, Miss Frigga? I can't trust you. What? You are here on behalf of Crown Prince Asta. The four pillar families and the crown have much to gain from my father's death. How can you assure me that this information will be used against my family? So that's why she's been so secretive. Let's try to rationalize again. I may have been hired by Prince Asta, but I am an independent agent. I have no stake in this conflict. I was only hired to arrive at the truth. How can you expect me to trust you when you're so obviously close to Prince Asta and Lady Steelpin? I'm sorry, okay. Appeal? There's nothing I could possibly say to make you trust me. But please understand me. I'm only trying to find out who murdered your father. And to do that, I need to know everything that he was doing that night. I have no reason to trust you, but somehow I can tell that you're being sincere. You really protect Beatrice. I'm about to reassure her that you will, but something in the back of your mind stops you. I'll get to the truth of what really happened. Okay. If that's really what you're planning to do, I'll tell you what I know. I wasn't trying to be uncooperative, but I didn't know who I could trust. Considering the circumstances, that's perfectly understandable. I'm not sure why, but my father was extremely upset that night. According to him, Beatrice had returned and was even more impudent than before. He must have been angry about something she said during the meeting. Did he tell you what the meeting was about? He did not, and I honestly didn't care. I was just so happy that my sister had finally returned. But my father clearly felt the opposite. Before he entered his study, he told me that he would be pruning the family tree. He was going to disinherit my sister and several other members of our family. He probably started drafting a new will to reflect the decision. Okay. Has anyone found the draft of this will? No. It was one of the first things I looked for after the investigation began. Modified will is missing. I doubt that it would even be enforced. Never got a chance to submit it for probate before he died. Which can't discount the possibility that the murderer destroyed it. Did anyone else know about this? No one. I didn't even tell Lady Steelwind when she was questioning me. Because it would have given Beatrice a motive to commit the murder? Anyways, thank you, Miss Frege. Mr. Cuthbert. Yes? My sister is not a bad person. There's no way that she'd do something like this. Sorry what she says, she seems to have some doubts. She's in good hands. Ruby Tomorrow's the one defending her in the trial, after all. I hope so. Anyways, you think that you've learned everything you can from Leif. There's only one last person to speak with. Harold Haraldson. What a fucking name. Name of a champion, frankly. Oh, no, it's gone. As you enter the gallery, spot Haraldson inspecting the shattered remnants of a display case. This is a complete mess. For all correctly, the display case he's looking at no one's held the source spell eating. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, I had a feeling I'd be seeing you again. It's working for the Crown Prince. Can you be trusted? It seems word has spread about your deal with Aster. Hello again, Mr. Haraldson. Harold. Right, Harold. I'm sure you know that I'm investigating the murder of William Frege. And the prosecution suspects that someone used this sort of spell eating to break into Lord Frege's room. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the theft last night. I'll tell you what I can, but I'm not sure how much of help I'll be. Artifacts. I can't believe a museum owns such a powerful magical item. I would have expected the noble houses to take them for themselves. Well, the nobility of today don't have much use for items such as these. The power of a lord is based on politics rather than magical strength. No, the monkey's so mad. And a noble wouldn't want to wield the sword of a demon even if the legends are just stories. A demon? Oh, right. The sword of spell eating is said to have been forged from a pact between a demon and a mage, so I'm shifting onto my chair. I hope you can't hear that. Isn't making a pact with a demon just asking for trouble? They'd definitely betray you the first chance they got. Well, legends say that demons often crafted blood contracts for this reason. Wait, do you mean like a legally binding contract? The concept is similar, but once you sign a blood contract, both you and the demon are magically compelled to fulfill its terms. It's said that violating its terms will result in instant death for the offender, no matter who it is. So I guess there's some protection. Well, as an attorney, I'm sure you understand that it's possible to exploit and use loopholes in any contract. And according to the legends, demons take great pride in their ability to deceive and corrupt people. Makes sense? According to the prosecution, the theft took place during the Lord's Ball. Shouldn't there have been plenty of witnesses in the gallery at that time? And that's the strangest thing. Supposedly, the gallery room was completely empty when it happened. What? That can't be right. And honestly, I have no idea how anyone could produce enough magic to shatter the display case anyways. Were the wards protecting the case that powerful? They were powerful, but that's not the issue here. It would be one thing to dispel the wards and remove the glass protecting it, but it's another thing entirely to completely annihilate the abjuration wards and shatter the glass. Doing something like that would require an extremely powerful spell, far more powerful than what would have been needed. Fascinating. So you're saying the force applied was excessive? Yes, and that's not the worst of it. It's clear that the sword of spell eating wasn't the only item that was stolen. What? Another artifact was stolen that night. Oh yeah, this one, which is the Armbands of Intellect. Is that how she knew where everything was? She became like omniscient for a brief moment. Mention that another item was stolen? Yes, it's extremely concerning. After the sword of spell eating was reported missing, I checked the other exhibits. That's when I discovered that the armbands of intellect had been stolen as well. And unlike the sort of spell eating, we still haven't found the armbands. Look at the glass case where the armbands used to be. They've been removed, but the glass case is completely intact. The thief didn't shatter the glass. Exactly. Moreover, the armbands were actually replaced with a very well-made replica. What? Fascinating. What's going on here? The two thefts are completely different from one another. Are they even related, or did two different thieves coincidentally steal from Harold that night? Yeah. You mentioned that someone would have needed a powerful spell to shatter the display case. Would that narrow down the list of suspects for the theft? Not everyone attending the ball could cast spells that powerful. Well, according to the Inquisition, Beatrice Frega's magic was powerful enough to have done this. Discounting the fact that she's completely blind? Yes, I'm well aware of that. It doesn't sit quite right with me either. Was anyone else at the Lord's Ball capable of matching Beatrice's power? Only the heads of the four pillars could invoke magic this powerful. But apparently, Beatrice is an exception to that. Is Beatrice really that powerful? Or is she just being scapegoated by one of the house leaders? But the cases can be opened normally, can they? Otherwise, how would you transport the artifacts from place to place? Ah yes, the magical locks on the case can be disabled. Detect some fear? Is he hiding something? How are they normally disabled? They can be turned on and off using a spoken password. And how many people know this password? Only myself. I personally oversee the transportation of these items when they're moved. Alright. So Harold could have stolen the sword that night. Could he have staged the robbery to cover his tracks? I don't know about the sword, maybe the intellect armband, but the sword. Harold, a witness told us that you got into an argument with William Frege on the night of the murder. Was William Frege planning on defunding the Heralds in the Hall of History? Ugh. Yes, he was. He made that very clear. But that doesn't mean that I had anything to do with his murder. I'm not saying that you did, but I need to explore every possibility. So I need to ask, did your argument that night turn hostile? I'll admit that our discussion turned heated, but never escalated to threats or violence. With how insulting he was, it should have. William was being unreasonable, and I was frustrated, but that's all there was to it. He deserved what happened to him. The guy shows more resentment than he's letting on. Do you have any conflicts with him prior to that night? We have had disagreements in the past. He was receiving pressure from the royal family about what I was displaying in my museum. The king believed that some of my exhibits were too controversial for the public eye. What do you mean? I'm sure you've noticed the rising tensions between the common folk and nobility. I've never been one to shy away from the bloodier parts of Isengard's history. The citizens must know about these parts of history, otherwise we're liable to repeat them. However, the king believes that my historical exhibits did nothing but dig up old wounds. Nothing but simpletons, a lot of them. The nobility thinks that they can smooth public relations by censoring history, as if they couldn't get any worse. Anyways, it's clear that Harold is passionate about his work, and that passion drives him far enough to commit murder, though. Thank you for your time, Harold. Harold. I think we'll be on our way now. We have a lot of info, but none of it really leads anywhere. So many people have a motive to murder William Frege, but who actually did it? Perhaps you should take some time to review everything that you've learned. What is this, Sire? Let's go over the events that happened that night. We all saw it when the sword of spell eating was stolen. What do we know of the thief of the sword of spell eating? That they're a powerful mage. Wow, I nearly worded it entirely correctly. It would be one thing to dispel the wars and remove the glass protecting it. But it's another thing entirely to completely annihilate the abjuration wards and shatter the glass. Doing something like that would require an extremely powerful spell, far more powerful than what would have been needed. The thief was a powerful mage. That's the only way that they could have shattered the magically reinforced glass. What about Harold? He could have just unlocked it using his password. He could have stolen the sword and staged a robbery, but he couldn't have shattered the glass. Only a powerful mage could have done that. And I doubt Harold would lie about that when we could easily confirm it was Sealwind. Right. But then what happened next? They brazenly stole the sword of spell eating. This caused Harold to report the theft to the King's Guard. After Lord Howson reported the theft, the Inquisition discreetly placed the manor on lockdown. They searched every room of the manor to try and find it, but it was eventually found in Beatrice's bedroom, and that led them to believe that she had stolen it. That's correct. The King's Guard moved to arrest her, but Prince Asta ordered them to step down. And then there's Leif's statement. My father was extremely upset about something. I think Beatrice may have offended him during their meeting. The servant said that he wanted to be left alone. He retreated into his study immediately after their meeting. I tried to speak with him when the theft was reported, but he didn't much care about the missing artifact. This happened before they activated the lockdown. It was a little after 1 a.m. that night. These accounts give us a clear fact about when William died. Whoa. I'm gonna need to take a sip of water while I think of this. They spoke with Lord Frey over everyone to study. Like the Nightgrave case, the timid death was after this encounter. Okay. This account gives us a clear fact about when William died. Okay, so he died after the artifact went missing. Yes. Oh wait, I'm stupid. It's on Leif, not William. My bad. William Fagan was murdered after the lockdown was activated. This means that whoever killed him bypassed the lockdown and broke into the magically locked room. They had to have used a sword, right? That's likely, but not necessarily true. An anti-magic field would have also had the same effect. The murderer could have stolen the spell or a sword to throw off the investigation. But an anti-magic field is a high-level spell. How many mages would be able to cast it? And I doubt any of the nobles here will let us see through the spell compendiums. Ooh, yeah, that's right? Don't we get Frega's spell compendium? Beatrice's spell compendium. And because of how powerful anti-magic field is, we can still conclude that the murderer is a powerful mage. This actually narrows down our list of suspects. That's still not concrete evidence, though. And we haven't even spoken to all the suspects yet. Right, we never got a chance to speak with Lucio Steelwind. But given his status, you wonder if that would even be possible. Either way, it's a good start, and it's not as if we're defending this case. The trial is getting close anyways. I doubt Mr. Moore's abilities, but you should share what you've learned with her before the trial begins. It's a little strange that you haven't seen her since the investigation began, but she might be meeting with Beatrice at the dungeon. That is really annoying, that she's not even, like, here. I guess she doesn't care, right? Because the noble's dead. I think she does genuinely hate the nobility. But she is a bit... she's an odd duck, that's for sure. We arrive at the dungeon and search for Miss Tamora. She wasn't at the crime scene, so I must be here discussing the case of Beatrice. This is what we thought, but you don't see her anywhere. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert. Oh, hello. You were so caught up in your thoughts you didn't notice that you were walking around from Beatrice's cell. How did she notice us? We didn't say anything. How did she know it was us? didn't expect to see you here. Of course it's you. Of course it's you. Eat shit and die. Apologies. Doing Harold Harrelson's voice will do that to a person. Yeah. So a shriek as Eris approaches you two from behind. For a split second, you see her hand dart towards her sword. It appears that she still hasn't gotten over her instinctual fear of Eris. Eris, what are you doing here? Beatrice is actually the niece of my father. He sent me here to help her through this ordeal. Your father? But your father's a spooky criminal man. And that brings up many more questions, but you don't really have time to pull on that thread. You've less than an hour before the trial begins. You need to find Mr. Mora. Now, have either of you seen Mr. Mora? I have some things to share with her. Oh, she was just here, but she left to retrieve some documents from her office. Do you have any idea when she'll be back? She didn't say, but if your discussion has something to do with the case, I could pass a message on to her. I feel a little hesitant for some reason, but it is her life on the line. Anyone should know about what you found during the investigation, it's her. Okay, let me tell you what I know. Spend some time going through your findings with Beatrice. From your list of suspects to the possible motives behind the murder. I noticed that with each revelation, she becomes more uneasy. The idea of someone framing her must be stressing her out. I see. You've certainly been very thorough. Yes, but I still have no concrete evidence that points to anyone. You underestimated. The reviews are findings fantastic, and I suspect something. What? Sorry, I was just deep in thought. And you were able to catch one of those thoughts. Beatrice, I'm sure you're aware that Prince Asta has your best interests at heart. I know. Even though we haven't spoken for the last 5 years. I still consider him a dear friend. Then I suppose you have no issue with me sharing these findings with him. Of course not. This is bad. Even he would support us if he knew that I was involved. Yeah. Wait, what was that? Her thoughts just said that she was involved? Did she actually murder her father? Is something wrong, Mr. Cuthbert? You look a little pale. Sorry if it's hard to hear my voice when doing Beatrice. I need to speak louder with her. Beatrice was actually behind this, but how? She's completely blind. She couldn't have navigated through the manor and avoided the guards. No, you must be taking her thoughts out of context. That's it. Mr. Cuthbert, perhaps you should get some rest. You look dreadfully tired. Ugh. I think very carefully about what to say next. There's one way to get a certain answer through the eye, but if you're wrong... Beatrice, you weren't actually involved in this, were you? Tyrion? You see her gaze narrow in response to your question. Once again, she claps her hands together. She's clearly trying to stay calm. Oh. Do you suspect me now, Mr. Cuthbert? You didn't answer my question, Beatrice. As if I'd even need to justify it with a response. But no, Mr. Cuthbert, I was not responsible for my father's murder. At least not directly, I was technically an accomplice. Okay. Wolf Theory's back, baby. An accomplice? Did she work together with someone? Cuthbert? Mr. Mora? Your mentor seems to have sensed the mood in the air. She raises an eyebrow at you. Mr. Mora, can I speak with you alone for a second? Okay. What's wrong? Is everything okay? Mr. Mora, Beatrice, she actually did murder William Frey. Mr. Mora's gaze narrows. Her eyes dart around the room to make sure the guards didn't overhear you. What are you talking about? How could you possibly know that? I used the Eye of Horus on her. She conspired with someone else to orchestrate William Frey's death. Have you told anyone else about this? No. Not as if they believe me anyways. You're the only other person who knows about my... I'm so sorry, I'm slowly dying. You're the only other person who knows about my abilities. Okay, just stay quiet about this for the time being. Anyways, I need to get ready. The trial starts in half an hour. But what? You're not seriously going to defend her, are you? Of course I am. I'm her attorney. But she's guilty. I saw it. Look, at this point, I don't know what you saw. So, do you think I can just abandon a client minutes before a trial? No, but it's not for either of us to decide who's guilty and who's not. Everyone has a right to an attorney. Our court system needs a defense attorney and a prosecutor to keep things fair. More importantly, you had no right to use iron force on my client without my permission. For what? But I don't have time to argue about this. We will be talking about this later. Before I have a chance to respond, Mr. Morrill walks away. Sus sees both of you and awkwardly approaches you. Hey, Tyrion? Is everything okay? Are you Gucci? Celeste, I think Beatrice was actually behind this. What? I don't blame her for not believing you. It's not as if you can tell her about the Eye of Horus. Although, why haven't you told her? Alright, I believe you. What? You wouldn't say something like that if you weren't sure, right? But if what you're saying is true, what do we do now? Thinking long and hard for a moment. I don't think we need to do anything. What? Tyrion is handling the prosecution. She's definitely no pushover. If Beatrice is truly guilty, I'll just have to trust her to get the job done. Either way, I don't think we're in any position to get involved. Alright, if you say so. It's really none of your business. No stake in this. You're not obligated to do anything. You've done everything you can. It's in their hands now. It's none of your business. This isn't your fight. Frigga was a tyrant and a bigot anyways. He's a noble who did nothing but steal wealth from the common folk. The world is better off without him, and it's not as if you didn't try. All you have to do is wait for the trial to run its course.
Objection!
And we're back. See you all next episode of Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane.